Okay, welcome friends. My name is Trina Lutsky. I was a teacher for over a decade and actually taught a skills class that included these types of things. And I'm a senior director with Pampered Chef. That is currently where I use most of these skills in my day-to-day. So I know some of you guys that have joined are team members with us. Some of you are guests. You might be guests that are in a different direct sales business, a different company. You might be someone that isn't in sales at all, but you're on a financial journey, or you're on a health journey, or you're on a habits journey, or something like that. And so this is just a really fantastic skill to be able to have. So we are so excited to have you. I would love for you to be able to go ahead and put in the chat for those of you that are on live. If you are a team member or if you are with a different direct sales company, I would love to hear about that as well. Or if you are just a guest coming to check things out. Okay, this is recorded, so it is awesome to be able to have this as an option, but this is going to be a live workshop where we're going to actually go through and manipulate some of the things that you guys have. And so what that will help with is being, those of you that are on live, you get the benefit of me kind of walking you through what it's actually like to create a goal and manipulate it. Because even if you think, yeah, I've made goals before, you might be like, oh, but it wasn't very specific, or I wasn't sure how to tell if I was making progress, or once the goal was made, I didn't know what to do next, or I never thought about this portion before. Okay, so we are going to be connecting with that. So excited to see a variety of guest members and team members. So fun. Okay, so a little bit about me. So if you're just like, okay, why on earth would I even this person knows anything about what she's doing? I mean, there's a variety of that. But I've been in direct sales for over it'll be over 12 years coming up this summer, just a couple days actually. So that is kind of fun. I was a high school and middle school teacher, so I was in the professional world for about 12 years. I taught particularly the last 4 or 5 years of my career, I worked with at-risk kids, helping them to learn more direct skills and things like that. I've been a speaker at national conferences, and I've done lots of different workshops and trained teams all over the country. So that's kind of where I come with this skill set. And what is cool about this is when I started in direct sales, I already had educator experience and was working within some of these and in the professional development things that I had to have to keep my licensure and things like that. I was being taught, how to make a SMART goal and how to do things for my professional development things and the other classes that I was taking from some of my graduate work. And there were all these things that kind of came together to come through. But what's really cool is I mastered this skill, or really went into knowing what to do with these and how to help you guys in such a way through direct sales and some of the things that I've learned through my company. So hopefully you guys will get some really good nuggets out of this and being able to grab that to be able to figure out the things that are going to really help you out. One of the cool things about starting with Pampered Chef was I gained all these other skills and things that were super relevant to life that I didn't anticipate when I was just looking for a little extra cash, or oh, that'd be cool to get a deep cover baker for free. That's really all that I wanted. So, 12 years later, we run one of the top teams in the country, and it's just a really cool thing to be able to see and to work with individuals that want more out of their daily life, their daily business, their habits, and their skills. They're able to come and be part of our team. So those of you that are guests, it's just a really cool thing. You kind of just get to see the inner workings or some of the behind the scenes that you might get if you were to decide to join. If you've been thinking about figuring out a different way for extra money, or maybe you're with a different company right now and you're leading and you might go, oh my word, this is a fantastic training for me to do with my team. I can't wait to share that with them. So no matter where you're at, we're just excited that you're here and wanting to grow, because that's a really cool thing. Okay, let me go ahead and get my screen going here. Hopefully it will. I don't have any video, so that should be, I'm hoping that everything is going to be cooperative today. And then I do like seeing faces. If you are in a way, we do always jokingly say, if you're not naked, I like seeing your face. I've actually been in the garden all day. I did shower because I was dirty. I was like, oh, I'm gonna wash my hair and things like that. This is just what you get. One of the cool things about my business too is I just left dinner with my family. We just finished up being able to walk in here. But I do love seeing faces. The teacher in me likes to be able to see the wheels spinning with your facial expressions, or if you're looking lost or things like that. It helps me stay on track with you guys. And then I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as well. And I'll make sure that I go back to the chat if I see questions coming in as we go through to make sure that you guys get what you need. So welcome to our goal setting workshop. I am so glad you're here. This is pretty cool. One of the things that I actually love, and one of the things that hopefully you're kind of recognizing as you're on a journey to figure things out or to figure out how to set a goal, is that you're in a spot right now. Okay. And your goal is basically either where you want to be or who you want to become, right? And what we want to do tonight is help you figure out how to narrow that gap. Okay, because there is a gap. If we sit there and think of the things that we want, if you're on a health journey and you're trying to lower some different blood levels or some different things, or cholesterol, or if you're trying to get a certain weight or fit into a certain dress by a certain date, right? Whether we've got that, or maybe you're going, okay, I've got some debt I would really love to get rid of. I would love to get rid of this credit card debt or the student loans, or we're saving for a house, or we're saving for a vacation, or maybe there's something there. Or maybe before, like I said, you're either a team member of our team and you've got some business goals, or you work for another direct sales company, or you're trying to figure out how to figure out some measurable goals for your current business. We've got to figure out how to narrow that gap, right? Because there's going to be a gap. And I think sometimes we don't identify and recognize what that gap is. And so then we don't know how to make it smaller. So we're throwing things all over the place and we don't know what to do. If you've seen the things with Goal Crushers, that's actually our organizational team name, because we love being able to set those goals, break them down, and help you to be able to achieve them. Okay, let's see. Is this going to be friendly to me today? Okay, so I love this quote. It says, setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into visible. And that's by Tony Robbins. If you are unfamiliar with professional development, or you're looking for, like a book to pick up, or a name to YouTube, to Google, or a podcast to find, Tony Robbins with this topic is a really great place to start. So I would, that's just one of those things. You're going to see, some more things coming from them there. And there's just loads of research that are going to connect goal setting with success. Okay. Yeah, it's possible to find some elements of success without necessarily really laying down a path. But when you go to people that are really successful, companies that are successful, people that are achieving things like weight loss, debt refinancing, okay, things that they're doing and they're furthering their education, there's some sort of a goal that they need to achieve to be able to figure that out. And so I love it because it's just the setting of the goal. It's just the first step. You don't really achieve anything in it, but it gives you that roadmap, and it gives you that chance to be able to see the things that you want, to be able to have them come through into something that seems like, what, I can picture what I'm doing right now. I can picture where I'm actually going. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about written versus non-written goals. And if you don't have a piece of paper or a notebook or a pen or something like that, I would really recommend going to grab one, because it's going to be a little tricky for you to be able to have that. I was unsure what the format or the size and kind of what we were going to be doing tonight was going to be, because a lot of times when I do this workshop just with our team, we all work in a live Google Doc together, and we create and write it down so that I can see. But I want you guys to be able to have a notebook, a piece of paper, something that you can actually make the thought go from your head down your arm onto paper. Make it actually come out and form into words. Again, I was an English teacher by trade, and there is such power in just getting it from here onto paper. And also the realization that it's not final. When I used to work with middle school students and we would be working on writing a thesis statement or something like that, it blew my mind how many of my students were afraid to just write it down or to type it out. I was like, you can backspace at any time, right? This is not permanent. This is not your life story. This is just, we're getting something on paper to see what it looks like, to be like, do I like that? Do I need a different word? Is that actually what I want? And sometimes the things that come out when we commit to an actual thought will surprise you, because we look and I go, well, that's not what I want. Well, that's what your brain came up with. You know what I mean? So just being able to explore that a little bit. But let's look at these stats and this information that I found. I was talking about written versus non-written goals. People who write their goals down are 20% more likely to achieve success. I mean, that's a pretty significant up, right? If it's not just, hey, I thought about it, I was thinking about it, I really dwelled on it. They actually pen to paper, wrote it down, and kind of committed to that phrase or whatever it was, 20% more likely. I think that that's amazing. Okay. And some goals, like when you sit there and think of how simple they might be, but the difference between that commitment on paper really makes a difference. And goals that are written down increase the chances of achieving them by 42%. Okay. So like, not only like, are you going to be more successful from writing it down, but like it's 42% more likely that you'll actually get that goal, that you'll pay off that debt, that you will hit that health goal. Okay, that you'll save that money in that finances, that you'll hit that title, that you'll hit that sales goal, you'll achieve that incentive trip, right? I mean, whatever that might look like. 13% of all people have some form of goals written, but there is no plan on how to execute them. Now, what I love about this is when I was looking up all these numbers and stuff like that, researching for some things, only 13% of people in general write down goals. That's a lot of people that just are like all over the place, right? But there's no plan on how to execute them. So they write something down and now they know the here to there, they see the gap, but there's no plan on how to get closer and how to narrow that gap. And some of you guys might be like, yep, that's where I'm at. I'm really great at writing the thing down. I'm great at telling, my person, my accountability partner, my therapist, my boss, my whatever, my spouse, the things that I'm going to do, but I don't actually have a plan of action. So there's no execution plan. 3% of people have written goals with a plan on how to execute them. Only 3% of these people, okay, that are goal setting and planning these things, actually go, yep, I've got a plan and this is how we're going to go. Okay. And then 3% of the people who have a written goal with a concrete plan are 10 times more likely to achieve success than those who are not. So, I mean, like when we look at these numbers getting smaller and smaller and smaller, as far as like people that actually do things, I want to encourage you to figure out what's going to separate you from everyone else. 84% of all people do not set any goals at all. Not verbal, not written, nothing. 84% of people are just like, yep, I don't even care. I'm not working towards anything. And then we sit there and wonder why people are discontent. People are unhappy. People are feeling like they're not accomplishing things. They're not having purpose, right? So when we sit there and figure out, okay, I mean, you showed up tonight. Let's just say that you're already in that top percent because you're spending time. Okay. Whether that's as a business owner, as an individual, as a young adult, okay, as someone with a financial goal, like you're already going towards and figuring out what this looks like. You're already in that top percentage of the class, right? So congratulations to that. And honestly, give yourself a little bit of kudos there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work through tonight a way to help you take some time to think. Okay, take some time to think and figure out how do we break down these goals into some things that are specific. So this is going to work best. Like I said, typically I'm working in a live document with you where I can kind of see what you're typing and what you're writing. We aren't going to be doing that tonight, but I would encourage you as we go through each step, write it on paper and then share it in the chat. Okay, write it on paper and then share it in the chat. Because what that's going to do is it's going to help you commit and see this. And you're going to have something when we leave here today that you're going to be able to look at and have a complete sentence and thought. Okay, to be able to go figure out that execution, right? We talk about those people that they've got the goals, but they don't plan to execute it all, right? So then, yeah, they went to the workshop and then they didn't do anything with it. And I don't want that to be. I want to be able to help you separate yourself from everyone else and so that you can narrow that gap and make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So now this is one of those things, again, this was something that I was taught as a professional educator. So if you're in the corporate world or if you're, in education or you're in the business world or, I mean, even in retail and things like that, they talk about this. Even when I was working in a restaurant as a waitress, there was this element of what goals are. And this actually, teammates, if you're wondering, or even those of you guys that might just be guests, this is just a screenshot taken from Dash, which is our inner system of working and training. So, I mean, like things like this, yeah, you're going to get stuff like this from our team if you were to join at any time. But this is all, Pampered Chef has all this stuff for you. Like they really do invest in their people. They want to help you figure out a goal. They know that you're like opening a business, right? They want to help you figure out as an independent consultant, like, well, why did you come? Did you come because you wanted to get product? Did you come because you wanted to gain confidence? Did you come because you wanted to earn a specific amount of money? They want to help you do that. So the example that you're seeing here is giving very direct sales specific examples. But if you are someone who has never heard of SMART goals before, this is just kind of one of those little acronyms that's going to be like this mnemonic device to help you go, okay, if I'm trying to make a goal, as we're working through some things tonight, is my goal something that is going to help me and be specific enough? So the S in SMART is specific. Okay, the M is measurable, the A is actionable, the R is relevant, and then the T is time bound. And I will say, there are some philosophies, if you guys follow Rachel Hollis at all, she's one that she's like, I don't like time bound. I don't think that there should be a time on anything. But here is what I'm going to encourage you with. I like the idea of time bound as a checkpoint. Some of us put a time on something and then we think that we're a failure if we haven't done it. All that means is that we guessed incorrectly how long it would take to achieve that. Maybe we needed some skills before we got to the end of that goal and we didn't have them yet. And we guessed incorrectly how long it would take us to achieve those goals. Right? Like we guessed incorrectly how long it would take our body to, have our hormones regulate to be able to start seeing some results on the scale. Like that's just a guess of figuring that out. But having some sort of a time-bound element to your goal is really helpful for you to be able to have like a checkpoint. Now you might say, okay, let's say you're wanting to have a cash Christmas this year. Okay, let's say that's the case, or you're trying to get a down payment on a house or something, or you need to pay off debt before you move or get a different job. I don't know. Okay. So, before I quit teaching, I had a very specific, like, okay, we need to be debt free by the time I, quit teaching so that I wasn't worried about that. So I had, some time sensitive things with that. So there might be if you're working towards an incentive trip, if you're a team member here, or some different fast track rewards in your 90-day date, all these free product bonuses you're eligible for. Okay, those would make sense to have a time bound thing. Okay, if you go, okay, it's the end of the year, I need to have this trip achieved by December 31st because that's the earning period. Okay, if I don't achieve it in that time period, then I don't achieve the goal. Right? That doesn't mean that you haven't made progress. That doesn't mean that you haven't found success. And that's where I think kind of Rachel Hollis comes in and like, oh, you probably learned along the way, right? Okay, but some things really are time sensitive. But being able to look and make sure it's specific, we're going to walk through all of these items, and I'm going to help you navigate and kind of massage your phrases and the things that you have into something that's going to kind of fit into here. Okay. Let me check the chat, make sure there's no questions. Okay, I don't see any questions. If you have any questions as you keep going, go ahead and type those in the chat and I'll keep an eye on the little bubble there. Okay, so here are the questions that you're going to ask when you're setting a goal setting. So here's our workshop part, okay? So do we have, go ahead and holler in the chat, like say, got it, got it, got it. If you've got paper and pencil, let me know that you're ready. There you go. I see some things lighting up. There you go. Ah, Miranda, I mean, that is my life. I've got a 12, well, almost 13, almost 9, and a 5-year-old. So yeah, I mean, we literally were, like I said, sitting down at dinner, and I was like, okay, now I'm going. My youngest was still eating because she takes 9,000 years to eat, right? Because every 5-year-old is going to chew pieces of meat 40 billion times before they digest it. And she's like, can I have a hug before you leave? I'm like, you do not need a formal goodbye before I go in the other room. Because that's all I'm doing. Like all I did was I went in the other room. It's not like I'm leaving town, honey. I'm like, you're fine. Okay, love it. See, you guys are all set and ready. Okay. Okay, so the first question you're going to ask is, what do you want? And you're going to start this prompt with, I want, and then you're going to fill in the blank. And these are the things where I'm going to say that I'm going to be like, you need to be specific. Okay, when we're thinking of the measure. So if you want, I want to be healthier. I want to earn more money. I want to pay off debt. Okay, like these are the things I'm like, no, my friends, what does healthier mean? I want to have, have my cholesterol to a certain number by the time I get to the doctor. Okay, I want to lose 5 pounds. I want to pay off my Kohl's credit card. I want to save $1,000 for our vacation. Like, I don't know, what are those look like? If it's business related, it might be, I want to achieve a certain title. I want to have X number of dollars in sales. I want to earn $1,000 in my commission check. I don't know. whatever you want. And there is no right or wrong. Again, some of the examples that I'm using are Pampered Chef related, because that's where, like kind of a lot of my premise comes from. And that, these team trainings work towards, but it can be anything. Cause again, we want to help you achieve anything. And reality is that's a lot of what I do with our team anyways. Right? Like you guys might come in with a goal setting and we might talk about it being business related, but I'm like, I don't care. I want you to be able to figure out what you want. And then we kind of figure out how Pampered Chef helps you get there. Maybe you want to pay off debt, right? And we're really working on that. And then we work together as teammates to say, okay, so you have this tool in Pampered Chef. How can Pampered Chef help you get what you want? Okay. How can it help you feel more confident? How can it help you get, lose a certain number of weight, or to be able to lower your stress level, or to, do all these things, spend more time with your family? Like, how can we use this as a tool? Okay. So go ahead and write down, what do you want? And some of you might be like, oh, I know she said goal setting workshop, but I didn't think she'd actually ask me to like reflect on some things in myself. That's what we want to do today. Okay, you are already here. Let's invest that time right back into you to figure out what that looks like. And then I would love it as you guys go in. This is where the workshop part comes in. Okay. Share it in the chat, because I would love to help make sure, especially for those of you that are very new at this skill, to help make sure that this first prompt that you're filling out is going to get us to the path where we can get you a plan to execute. Okay. Okay, good. Let me go through. Okay, good. Sherry's is a specific business goal. She wants to hit a certain title in the career plan. Okay, and to be able to have that title. I wanted to be able to extra income to help my husband earn money. Okay, awesome. Miranda, I would love to know what that extra is. Go and rewrite that in the chat to figure out what is that extra income. Is extra $100, $500, $1,000? Like, what does extra mean? Because that's gonna really matter as we continue working through these prompts. I want to earn Punta Cana by November 1st and have 60,000 points left to go. Does that mean you have, like right now you have 60,000 points left to go, Shelly? Because we're like, right now it sounds like you want to earn it by November 1st, but still have 60,000 points that you need to earn. Okay. Gotcha. So you mean like right now. Okay. I want to achieve director, pay off our credit card debt, and earn my first incentive trip. Okay, Sarah, I'm going to encourage you. Let's zone in on one thing. If you were to look at all three of those things, if those are things that you know that you want, that are hot goals that you have, okay, what items would be, what item would help you do the other two? Does that make sense? Like if you pay off your credit card debt, is that because you're earning enough income that your incentive trip and director just happened? Right? If you're working hard enough to earn the incentive trip, does that mean you're just going to promote and the income that comes alongside it is going to just automatically pay off that debt? So go ahead and narrow that down. I want at least 2 bookings every month. Good. Okay. So I want 2 back. Good. Okay. Something very specific with her business. I want to pay off all our debt other than our mortgage by the end of the year. Okay. Awesome. That's fantastic. Rhonda, I'm going to encourage you, if you don't know that, either write a little note or figure out what that number is, because it's going to be really important. Sometimes we say that and then we go, that was bigger than I thought. So maybe I'm going to just do student loans or something, right? So that we have that actionable thing. And sometimes, after a workshop like this, you go in and you do some of that side work, and that's when you do the revisiting and figuring out what that looks like. But I'm going to encourage to make sure that you know specifically what that looks like. Rachel says she wants a consistent show schedule of 8 parties per month. I want to become team leader and make $5,000. Okay, Don, is that $5,000 for the year? Is that $5,000 in sales? Is that, tell me a little bit more about what that looks like. We're going to bring in 500,000. Okay. Monthly bills and debt. Okay. Love that, Miranda. And I love that you're able, with that number that you're working with right now, you're, figuring out what that is. Cause what I always encourage people to do is, when they're coming up with a financial goal, figuring out like, okay, so, when I'm trying to make a bill, like when I'm trying to cover a bill, like if we have someone coming in saying, okay, I want to earn $140 because I want to cover the car insurance. I want it to be like that bill just disappears. Or maybe you have kids in sports and you know that like, okay, dance is going to be coming up and I need to write a check for $400 at the end of the summer to cover their, their expenses for the year, whatever that looks like. Really figuring out what that looks like and how that extra income can help erase really make a bill seem like it doesn't happen. It was so funny when I would be doing things. My husband and I have a budget. We use an envelope system, especially when we were paying off our debt. We were working through that a lot. And it was so funny because there were a couple things that when he at first didn't really think I was making money. Like, I mean, he knew I was doing this and free product, and if the FedEx man kept coming to the door, and it seemed like I wasn't spending money, so he wasn't really sure what's going on, right? But like I had to like make sure he understood, like, honey, have you noticed that for over a decade, you have never had to pay for car tags? Like they just poof, our title and registration are just always current. Or like, like that, the septic tank that comes in, that's just never been a thing. Like we've never had to do that from the budget. It's come out of my business account. Some of those things like being able to have, he was like, or I was like, Christmas time rolls around and we've never had to like have an envelope for that. It's just been able to be a cash Christmas, right? The different things like that. Sometimes we have to really identify what that commission check or what that money, wherever it's coming from, is going to go towards that bill so that you can picture that. Or you have a farm and need feed and hay money. Oh my word, Miranda, I just started gardening and like I'm a beginner. So I'm trying to like not spend money until I have decided I actually like this, so that one of two things happen. One, it's either a great hobby and I'm okay spending money on it because it's a hobby, right? Or I'm actually like getting produce and things that would help my family's grocery budget, so then I don't feel bad spending money on it. So I keep telling myself that would be pretty, that would be nice, but let's just wait with what do we have currently? I'm on between $150 and $2 extra per month. I love the specificness of this, Linda. Oh, Linda, and I love that you went back in and said to erase my property taxes, that has income by okay, love it. Okay, so Don's working with that. So Don, I'm going to encourage you to break that down a little bit more when you think of that 5,000 by the end of the year. Divide that by what do we have left? May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Divide that by 7 so that you know what your monthly income is going to be. So that's broken down a little fuller. Dying too much. I mean, that's what I'm trying, Miranda. I keep being like, okay, but this is free. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Okay, love it. Okay. So thank you so much, those of you guys that are sharing in the chat. Like I said, it's so helpful. My goal is to help you go through and make sure that you're going to leave here with something that seems very personable and tangible and is yours, that you can actually go and like execute then with the things that we've got. Okay, let me double check and make sure I've got that in there. Okay, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, so if you've got something in there that to readjust, so now you should know what you want. And again, there is nothing wrong. Okay, there's nothing wrong with what you want. You just might notice I'm going, ooh, let's go a little specific. Let's figure that out. Okay, and sometimes as we go through a couple of these other prompts, you might recognize that you might realize like, oh, I said I wanted that, but now that I know what that takes, maybe I need to adjust that. Maybe I'm not in a space to be able to do that right now. I've had people that have come to me and been like, okay, I want to earn an incentive trip, or I want to earn $1,000 a month. And I go, okay, great. And then we break it down to what that'll take. And they'll be like, okay, I want to earn $1,000 a month, but I only want to have 2 parties, or I only want to work 3 hours. And I'm like, neither one is wrong, but they don't match. Your goal has to match your work, and your work has to match your goal. It's not wrong to change either one of them, right? But it'd be like if I said, well, I want to, lose 50 pounds, but still drink all the soda and eat all the brownies. Okay. Or like, okay, well, that's me. Guilty as charged. Like it's not wrong to be able to say, I want to be able to eat what I want, or I want to be able to enjoy, like, that's not wrong. Okay. I didn't see that, Rachel. Let me see. Oh, I didn't see that. Okay, good. Oh, I think I missed. Okay, Karen. Yeah, there were a couple of them that went through. Okay, Karen, pay off debt. Do something specific. Okay, something specific. What are you paying off? Is there a specific credit card? Is it a car loan? Like, do something specific. Because if you're just saying, I want to pay off debt, well, you're not going to have anything that you can measure if you're making progress or if you've accomplished it, right? Unless you're literally going to attack all of debt, which that's such a long-term goal that we want to be able to have something that's broken out. And then Mercedes, help us get a new car. Awesome. Do you know what that, when you say help us, is there a certain dollar amount that you want for a down payment, or that you want to consistently earn every month that would be the payment, or that you need to save up for? Having something like that. Miranda, so if you guys are going, okay, I've got debt and I don't know what to come, there's lots of different theories. One of the things that I would really recommend is going over Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, or looking up the debt snowball. Okay. There's lots of different theories of like, oh, if you take this one and figure it out. But as far as motivation and feeling progress, the theory behind that is you look at all of your debt and you start attacking the smallest one first. So let's say you've got, like a $700, Target credit card or something like that, or a $700 Amazon card or Chase credit card or something like that. You would go after that first, even if the interest rate was lower than, your car loan or something, because you will feel progress. So then what you'll do is you will attack that small loan and pay minimums on everything else. Okay. And then when you attack that first one, so then you go, okay, so let's say we're paying $30, normally a month as a minimum, or everything that you're paying towards that $700. When that's paid off, now everything that you were paying on that, you're going to go attack the second biggest thing. And that's why it snowballs and snowballs. We did this with our student loans, and it was so fun to get to the end of the process where suddenly it was like, oh, maybe we're like paying like $1,000 or $2,000 towards the loans, and they're just getting eaten up. Okay, $5,000. Okay, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yes, we did. We were 98% and then we bought a farm. I mean, the whole farm buying will get to you, right, Miranda? But that, but being able to look at what that is and figure out where those debt accumulations might be in some of those smaller things, whether that's in property taxes or whether that's in, like the property loan, or whether that's in some of the projects that maybe you put up. Maybe you got a fence or whatever that costs, but right, like different things like that. Being able to attack each individual project can be helpful. Okay, good. Sorry, thank you. Okay, ready? Now. Okay, why do you want it? So you have your first prompt. I want to pay off, I want to earn $500 a month so that, and figure that part out. Okay, have that be so that I can start going on vacations, so that my husband and I will stop fighting about money, so that I can show my kids that they can live debt free, so that I can walk across stage and know that I accomplished something in my business, so that I can go on a much needed expense paid vacation with my spouse, right? So that I can stay home to be with my babies, right? Oh, love it, Miranda. Okay, so go and have that, so that I want to, so that fill in the blank. Okay, and I'm going to encourage you, if you, again, put that in the chat. And as we walk through this, though, this will be where I might be a little like, okay, that's not very specific. That was a nice fluffy answer. For some of you that don't know me very well, you might be like, well, man, this lady's prying. It's up to you. My goal is to help you be able to dig into something that you're going to leave with and have been able to explore something that again, it's very personal, it matters, and it will help you take action, because that's what matters, right? We can come up with goals all day long, but if it doesn't matter enough, or it doesn't seem real enough to be able to have an action step, then we're lost. Okay, so I'll give you guys a second. She'll get down. Sherry's like, oh, she'll find you. So I offer coaching calls with anybody in my organization. Leaders and above typically, are able, I mean, they don't have to sign up for ones that long, but they sign up for, they can do ones as long as an hour. And then teammates can sign up for either 15 minutes pockets or 30 minutes of pockets. And then those are working towards something specific with me. Sometimes we do that weekly. But it's just an option to have that, like, hey, that exploring, that availability of a community, a tribe, someone cheering in your corner for you. They're not required. It's not like I'm not your boss. There's nobody coming to check on you to do the things, but sometimes it can be really help that it goes together, right? Let me see. I see some of them coming in the chat. Love it. Okay, so that I can pay off my credit card, and also so I can not only continue to make title consistently without stress, but to grow and promote. Rachel. Hold on, I'm trying to go back because Rachel, I feel like there was a lot there. Okay, consistent show schedule. The yours was the 8 parties. So that I can pay off my credit card, so I continue my title consistently without stress, but to grow. Okay, sorry, I've got the chat open wide so I can see that. Big. Okay, so Linda, I feel like so I don't have to put things like gas and groceries on credit cards, but I mean, I guess no, I mean, I guess that'll probably be answered in the last card, so that I can feel accomplished, so that I can relax on the beach with my husband and friends, and it's somewhere I've never been, so that I'm actually making money in this business, not losing money. Oh, I mean, like Mickey, there are so many things. You know, I tell people, I go, okay, there's nothing wrong with having this as a hobby, right? But hobbies are things that we spend money on and do whenever we have extra time. Right. So if we look at our business and go, well, I don't have any extra time, I'm not ever doing any of it, and then I'm spending money on it. That's because we're treating it like a hobby, right? When we start treating it like a job, if we're wanting to make money from it, then we're like, we show up to shifts, right? Like we do the work. I mean, you don't have a boss other than yourself, right? But you do what your boss tells you to. I always joke around that sometimes my boss is too lenient when I'm being a crappy employee, right? Because I'm one and the same. So I can pay off my car sooner, so I can retire, so we can be able to pay monthly bills and buy groceries in the regular and not go with $1. I mean, like Miranda, I mean, like that, like that's like legit real life right there. Like that squeeze of like having to watch. I tell people all the time, I remember when I was counting groceries in my cart because we only had so much cash and that was all we could do. You know, like when I was able to start saying yes to my kids in the grocery store because they wanted Oreos or name brand cereal or whatever, like that's life-changing. I think sometimes people think that they have to make career money to make money that matters. And that's not true. Like an extra $100 a month can be significantly game-changing for the average American. Pay off credit card debt so that I can free up my finances. Okay, good. And like I said, so I don't have to worry about finances. Okay, good. And I'm going to let you guys kind of off the hook because some of you guys are pretty vague there. It's not awful, but a lot of them are vague. But this next question, this next section, I think is going to kind of force you to get a little bit deeper. Okay, so that wait. What do you want? Why do you want it? Hold on. Oh, there you go. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. Okay. So that I was like, wait a minute, it should be the next one, but it's the second one from now. Okay, when do you want to buy? Remember, we talk about this being something that is time sensitive. Okay, that's the T in SMART. So when do you want to buy? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. You're time sensitive. You're putting a measure on it. This is to help you have a checkpoint to figure out, did you estimate correctly the amount of time that it would take you to get something? Okay, like maybe, some of you guys that might be worried, like I think Shelly's was on going to Punta Cana. Okay, that's a year to year, January 1st to December 31st goal. We have to have something specific with that. Okay. Some of you guys are going with specific, debt goals, or some of you might have a particular income goal. Okay, well, if you're only making, if you like, for example, if you're not part of the team, okay, or if you don't have a way of making income, right, and you're wanting to contribute, then being able to have something, you don't have anything right now. So there's got to be some time between you making $0 right now to figuring out what it's going to take to be making $500 a month, right? There is a gap. Remember, we talked about that. There would be a gap between who you are right now and the type of consultant or the type of individual that has those habits. Okay, maybe you're a spender and you like to buy things. You just swipe the credit card. So if you have a financial goal, okay, might be a gap between the type of person you are right now and the type of person that sticks to their budget with their groceries or saves or doesn't, spend extra or whatever, right? What that person would need to be doing, what those habits might look like. Okay, so we've got November 1st, September 1st, July 1st. And then again, making sure that as you're looking at some of those things, are you make sure that you know what that looks like. I think what I told, I think John's had like a 5,000 yearly income. So I was like, okay, take 5,000, or my phone will be, take 5,000, divide it by 7, be like, okay, so I need to be earning, like $600 a month, $650, $700 a month or whatever to be able to get to what this looks like. So you go, okay, well, if right now I'm earning, like this or $50 a month, okay, what would it take to start earning $600 a month, $700 a month, or okay, maybe I start earning $200 or $300 this month. And then in July, I'm hoping to up that to 500. And then in August, I've got all these skills. I've narrowed the gap between the type of person I am and who I'm becoming, right? So now I've got these good work habits. I've got these systems in place. Now I can start earning higher paychecks, right? July 7th, that is PC payday, right? Yes, Linda, we do get paid 2 times a month. Anything you, as long as you have direct deposit, if you get, any sales that you would submit the 1st through the 15th, you get paid on the 21st or 22nd, depending on your bank. And then anything you submit the 16th through the end of the month, you get paid on the 7th. And that includes any overrides. So if you have team members that you have overrides, if you hit certain sales goals or things like that, if you have title promotions, all of those would get paid on that 7th paycheck. By July 1st, I would like to have my 8 booked and held in June and booked for July and August. Okay, being able to have that. Okay, does that make sense? August 1st. Okay, we're coming up with these things by Thanksgiving. September 1st to bring in $500 a month. Love it, Miranda. July 7th. Good. Okay, this is the one that I was like, this is where it's going to come in, which is why I wasn't so picky on this. Okay, why is it important? This is important because, and don't let yourself off the hook here. Okay, don't let yourself off the hook here. Okay, this should be something that like really matters. It's important to me because I want to be debt free. Well, everybody wants to be debt free. Nobody is like, I can't wait to be in debt. Okay, nobody's like, I can't wait to fight with my husband. I can't wait to not hit my goal, right? I can't wait to be overweight. Like, there's obviously like it's like that thing, but figure out like what does that mean? Like, why is that important? This is important because, being able to earn $500 by this date, consistently a month is important to me because what kind of a picture does that paint? When we look at that narrowing the gap, when we picture that person that we want to be, or we picture about what type of life we live when we get to that other side of it, why is it important to be that person? When I sit there and think of health goals that I have or things that I do, I always get back into exercise or eating right or, things like that. When I look at that, when I figure that out, it's because my mom was not healthy. And I'm like, I want to be there for my kids and grandkids. I've got 3 little girls. I want to be the mother of the bride that can walk into the dress shop and pick the dress that she wants because she loves it. Right? That's the one that I want. I'm not worried about the finances of it or the size. I'm not trying to hide my arms or my belt. Like, I just want to be able to walk in and be like, I want that dress because I'm confident, not because I'm like, well, I feel really okay. Those are the things, those are those emotional ties that we have to things that will actually make you long-term stick with something. Okay. It's important because I feel, there you go. Hold on, I'm going to go and look at this. This is important because it's good for our marriage and family. Shirley, I'm going to challenge that a little bit more. Why is it good for your marriage and family? Go a little deeper. Important because getting further into debt every month is not sustainable in the long run. Okay, so Linda, explore that. What happens? Obviously, it's not sustainable, right? Like, you're recognizing that. It's what will happen if you continue down that road? It's important because I don't want to. What does that look like? Like continuing in debt. This is important because I don't want to not be able to go to the store and get food for my family and keep them fed and clothes. Okay, yeah. I mean, why is it important for you to figure out how to provide for your family, Miranda? This is important because I feel like I'm wasting time and money and not actually accomplishing anything. And why is that frustrating, Mickey? Why would it be frustrating to not feel like you're accomplishing something? Why do you need to show yourself you can, Rachel? Why is that significant? That is like a big loaded question. Okay. Why is it important to not stress about your budget? Why do you have to prove something to yourself? Now, if you've ever done an exercise or looked for something too, we're not going to spend a ton of time. Like I said, we're going to wrap up here in about 15 minutes as we go through this. But looking at what this looks like, if you've ever look up Dean Graziosi, 7 Levels Deep, and it has you walk through this question 7 different times. I just asked everybody to get through one more layer of that. Like, well, why is it good for your family, right? Why is that not sustainable? Okay, why do you want to be able to provide for your family? Okay, why is it, like it frustrating to not accomplish anything? Like when you get down and you've asked that question about 7 times, you're going to get really down to the that's what it is. Because what's important when you're goal setting and when you're looking at these things is right now we're all operating from a place in our head. Okay. And when we start asking all these different things and it goes from our head to our emotions, when we move it from our head to our heart, we start acting. Okay, when something happens where suddenly we're emotionally affected and we're recognizing that our actions are affecting inside here, not just up here. Okay, when it's starting to affect those things that are really important to us. Okay, that's when we start deciding that our goal matters enough for us to change things, for us to change our habits, for us to change what we're looking at. Okay, when we start looking at those items, does that make sense? So I know that, like a little workshop like this isn't going to help you explore this is a reason we do coaching calls with our teammates, right? We open a can of worms here and go, oh God, I've got all the worms everywhere, Trina. I need to have her help me come put them back in the can or figure out which ones to get rid of, right? Hey, that's what those extension activities are designed to be. When you're working with your organizer, or maybe you have a therapist or, a spouse or a best friend or something like that you can take, this with and be able to come in with that. The too much debt leads to bankruptcy and losing your home. I mean, Linda, think about that. Like what, like the tunnel of what that brings to, and like walking down a path that could lead to bankruptcy or homelessness. Like we've met Pampered Chef people that have been homeless and this brought them out. Like they did an activity at conference last year when we all held up like a sign saying like why it was important. And one of the girls, she's like, I don't ever want to be homeless again. Or, one of the gals that shared her story and it just, it stuck out to me. I'm trying to think of what training it was on. And she was describing how she was with her son and he was just, I don't know, like probably 3 or 4 years old. And they were at the mall or something. And he wanted a milkshake for McDonald's and they were $1. And she sat down in that food court and just sobbed because she didn't have $1. Like she didn't have the dollar to do that for her son. She was like, how did I get here? How did I come this far down what this looks like? That I can't provide something that should be such a simple yes for him. And it's really cool to see her story, as it comes through. But, being able to look in, moved in job transfer, yep. Having a hard time coming with the words, yep. Important to me because I spent, yep. Never accomplished it I wanted, poured into me. Really questioning why I'm doing this. I do not need the money, but would like to build some confidence. Nikki, yep, that's good. Self-supporting without using credit. Show myself I could do it and accomplish something and show my family I can. I want to have confidence in myself. What's actually interesting? I mean, like we go through some of these things and we go, yeah, I want money. This is great. But a lot of you, it's coming into, it would boil into the ideas of security and confidence is where a lot of this is leaning down, right? Which is really interesting, not surprising at all. But when we look at that and figuring out like having that security and that confidence that you can continue doing things. And again, think guys, 84% of people don't set goals. And so they're not confident. They don't feel secure. They're not doing anything to change who they are and narrow that gap. They're just living status quo. And that is the majority of people. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for you. It's hard. It is not easy to take this goal, to dig inside yourself and then figure out, okay, crud, that gap is large. And this person that I want to be looks an awful different, awful different than who I am today. Right? And the work that it takes to till the ground in your soul and your mind and your habits and your current relationships and your thought patterns and the things that have been, like rutted in your brain, your neurosystem for decades to rewire those. It is important work, my friends, but it's hard. Okay. And it's daily. I was just talking, Heather from our team, I think shared something about today, and she was like, oh, just motivation is just lacking today. And I was like, okay, friends, here's the deal though. Motivation was never meant to be fuel. Motivation should be like the rocket boosters that like launch you forward. Like, let's say you're doing something, you've been organizing something, and suddenly you feel really motivated. And then all of a sudden you clean out like 3 closets and get everything to Goodwill. Okay. That's not meant, like, that was just like that was such a good day. And then you keep plugging along, organizing your house, right? Okay. Motivation is not the gas that keeps you going. It's not your fuel. It's the rocket booster that helps you boost. Okay. In your business, if you're looking at that, you're not going to be motivated to show up every day. You're not going to be motivated to be that person that sends messages, that creates content, that, does customer care, that puts their money towards the responsible thing instead of the fun thing, right? Like, you're not going to be motivated to be that. That's the daily habits and the systems and the things, because you're telling me this is important to you, right? Okay. What specific actions do I need to take? So now here's where you're going to come with this nitty gritty. I've got this little thing. So what specific actions do you need to take? Think of something very small. I heard this was from Jordan Peterson. It was really interesting. He was talking about, he's like, you have to break this down to the smallest goal that you will actually do. Which can be really frustrating, because you might be like, that doesn't move me very far. This gap, you couldn't even see any closing of it. Yeah, but will you actually do it? Because some of you might have a number like, okay, like maybe it's something like, maybe you're not part of the team and you say, okay, well, I want to earn all this money. Well, you know what? I could sign up tonight with a $25 kit. I could sign up tonight. You've not made any money. Nothing has happened, right? But that's an actionable step that gave you an opportunity, right? And then the next actionable step could be like, I'm going to have a phone call with my person and talk with them. Okay, they're going to give me an action, right? All these little things. Jordan Peterson was talking about, there's a guy that he was, 40 years old, living at home, he's, he's like, what? I've just basically been a worthless adult. He was like, I'm not doing anything for myself. My mom still makes my meals. She still cleans up after me, all these things for decades. He was like, I don't have a job. He's like, I've got to get out of this. So the action that Jordan Peterson, his therapist, gave him was, okay, so what if you vacuumed the rug that's in your room? And the guy was like, this is pathetic. This is my task for the day. I'm just going to try to vacuum the rug. This is not getting me to be a self-sufficient adult. This is not narrowing that gap any faster, right? And Jordan Peterson was like, oh, correct, but we need to have something you can do. Because right now you are not a self-sufficient adult, right? We're not this person over here. Okay, we can't pretend we are. That's not fair. Right? And I think sometimes we beat ourselves up because the gap isn't closed. You're not supposed to be this person over here. We don't beat a toddler up for not being able to do college algebra. It doesn't make sense, right? We would never do that, but we do that to ourselves all the time. And so, and I guess the week went by and the guy was only able to get the vacuum to the doorway. Like, he would step over it, all that he could not. And he was like, I don't know. And again, there's a lot of psychological stuff or whatever going on there with him, right? So then so Jordan was like, okay, here's the deal. How about if this week instead, we make it a goal? Do you think that you could get the vacuum into the room, all the way into the room? Don't even vacuum. I don't even want you vacuuming. And then the guy's beating himself up again, being like, really, I'm so worthless. My whole goal is to get it into the room. And he's like, because it has to be something you will do. If you keep creating things that you're not going to actually do, because it is so far from the person you are right now, you will not take actionable steps to achieve your dream. That's why the time thing, okay, takes consistent actionable steps. And what's cool about this is when you take actionable steps, okay, they start to multiply, right? Like that first breakthrough that he was having for some reason about not being able to do that, by the time he gets to the point where he can vacuum that rug, he's going to suddenly be like, yeah, and then I clean my room, and then I made my dinner, and then this is a normal thing, and I do all, right? It's going to start compounding towards that once you get that. That's the cool thing about growth. Okay. But being able to have that, I think is really, really specific. Actionable steps. Okay, Sherry, I'm going to encourage you to have that be more specific with everyone. Like, you're going to just start screaming at everybody in Walmart. Like, we don't want to be weird, right? $5,000 in sales with two qualified recruits per month. From I intend to open my mouth and share the business. Okay, Shelly, I would encourage you with the qualified recruits per month, because that has a lot less. I mean, there are systems and things that you can do that you can put control over that, but I would have more, like, if you want that, I would put it more on signing for recruits. Does that make sense? Or having a certain number of conversations. Figure out what that number looks like, because as far as them, yeah, yes, exactly, Shelly, because the qualified recruit would be dependent on your person wanting to do something versus what you have control over in your daily habits. I need to be very intentional with booking messages and stop worrying about being annoying to people. Okay. And like, and Mickey, something with that, if you are having a concern about that annoying people and being accountable, to me, that says that there probably needs to be some intentional mindset work there, right? Whether that's intentionally doing positive affirmations, doing consistent podcast listenings, staying connected with the team, I mean, something like that, that would help you with that mindset so that you start talking to yourself instead of listening to yourself. 10 contacts a day, every day. That's 11 more than I've been doing. That's 11 more than I've been doing. And 10 conversations. That's 11 more than I have been doing. I intend to set aside time Monday through Friday for an hour each day to learn about the company and working to make money for my family. Love that. And Miranda, I think you'll find out that, you're not even necessarily need that much, but commit time to connect and figure out, ask all the questions. There is no question that this business can't handle. Okay. Because we want to figure out if this is right for you, right? We want this to be a fit for you. Maybe it's not. I mean, I really do believe in it, that this is something that everybody should try. And I know that our team has the resources to help make people successful, but it's important for this to be something, the right timing and to prepare for you, right? You're worth the wait if for some reason we need to figure something out. But for you to figure out that, yep, this is the moment I'm going to take this. I woke up being afraid of asking my host and guests. That's something very specific, Sherry. Being able to be like, hey, like really working with your host. I love that. Yep. That's something very specific. Yep. No question is a wrong question. Yep. I always tell people, it's kind of like I tell my kids, don't be afraid to ask pastor a question. If he can't handle, like, Jesus isn't afraid of your question. So if pastor's worried about it, there's problems, right? So I think you should be able to ask us any question to get that. I'm not a positive affirmation person with myself, nor is it something I can bring myself to do. Okay, Mickey, is that because it's cheesy, or is that because it's a struggle to get there? Because those are two different avenues on how to solve that problem, right? So, okay. So my guess is you probably think it's cheesy because it's not effective. And I bet you don't think it's effective because you don't want to hear yourself say those nice things about you. Because I'm a bit like, I 100% like, this is stupid. Like, that's my natural thing. And then I'm like, son of a nugget, it makes a difference. But even listening just to positive things, guys, you sit there and think of like if you're waking up in the morning and watching the news, that's not helping your day. That is not helping your day. You are now doom and gloom, woe is me, all the things. Figure out something to feed yourself positively. Get your brain in the right spot. Okay. I love Karen saying creating a budget. That's definitely actionable. Cook more versus eating out. Watching those steps for your finances. I love that. Okay. And then here's the last part. I know we're kind of going over because we're connecting here a little bit. Oh, I'm going to do the same. Ta-da. How and with whom will I celebrate this when I accomplish? Okay. And this is one of the things that I feel like people miss out the most. We don't vision cast and figure out how we're going to celebrate. We don't ever plan to celebrate. So we have no like, hey, when we make this gap, when we get whatever this is, what does this look like? I've specifically looked at this for, when I was working on earning an incentive trip to Paris, I would look up pictures to the Jules Verne restaurant in the Eiffel Tower, and I would look up the menus, and I would picture what I was going to wear, and I was like, okay, what's the weather going to be like when we're like, I knew what was going to happen. Okay, like that was my reward. And I'm going to encourage you to make something like this specific. Okay. Don't have it be something you would do anyways. If you're like, yeah, I'll go get a manicure. Okay. But if you're going to get a manicure whenever your nails are gross anyways, that's not actually anything, right? Okay. If you're like, yeah, okay. If you're like, yeah, then we're going to go on our family trip this summer. That's not, you were going to do that. Are you going to cancel it when you don't hit it? Because then that shouldn't be your reward, right? Figure out some of the things, like what does that look like? Like my husband and I, when we paid off our student loans, we went out to Texas Roadhouse, took the kids, and it was so exciting. We like got on the bed, played together, took a picture, got all the kids, told them that we were celebrating, went out to eat together as a family, and left the waitress $100 tip. It was so fun. Okay. Like it was something specific that we did to celebrate that work that we had done. Okay. Being able to figure out, what does that look like, and having something, like, are there going to be people involved? Is it going to be yourself, your kids, your spouse, your parents, your family, your best friend, your team? What are going to be the things that are coming together to help you do that? Okay. And then, like really taking time to picture what that looks like. Again, this is the cheesy part that I'm like, oh man, but guys, like when you start telling your brain the end result, when you start talking to your brain about that gap being narrowed and who you are and who you become, your brain starts going, oh, so we're that person now? Okay, our brain waves can be changed. We have programmed them this way, unfortunately, right? Okay, but we can reprogram them, but it takes a while. It's just like wagging ruts in a road. Okay, we can reprogram them. It's going to take a while. When you try to get out of the ruts, it's going to go, okay, you've got to be able to reprogram it, but pretty soon your brain will start recognizing, oh, this is the direction we're going now. And that's where that stuff compounds. Okay. Okay, so we're going to be thinking about keep your goals in front of you and your fears behind you, my friends. This is another quote by Tony Robbins. Again, he is a wonderful person. If you are looking for positive things, mindset, his story is phenomenal. He's got books, he's got podcasts, he's got YouTubes, he's got all the different things. Okay, there's all sorts of stuff that you can get from him if you're looking for someone that's in front of it. But like make sure those goals, that vision, all those things are in there. I'm like, my husband planned to separate by another goal of ours, so hopefully I have a son next year. That's not you. I'm Miranda. I have like no filter. Nope. I think that's beautiful. Said being able to figure family planning and being able to have your finances in place for that. I mean, obviously, sometimes babies come when babies come, right? Okay. But we were always blessed to be able to. Now, I will say we've got 3 daughters, and I'm like, I'm done because I don't know. Nope. I'm over it because you can't I can't necessarily plan the gender, right? But being able to figure out family planning and know that you can confidently be excited for that baby instead of stressing about finances, right? Okay, to have those tangible things. I love that. Okay, so now when we sit there and think of, is this something, I know some of you guys are just checking out what our team and things like that. Some of you guys are already with us, but some of you might not be utilizing this opportunity the best because of whatever reason, right? Your habits aren't in place. You're not willing to change. You're not willing to get uncomfortable. You're not willing to learn the systems. You're not willing to learn the technology that can help. I don't know, whatever reason, right? Okay. But I want you to think about what would help you reach that goal. If it was debt, health, finances, confidence, whatever that looks like, security. Okay. Would Pampered Chef help you with that? We do have just, really a little over 24 hours to be able to start for as little as $25. Okay. So when you sit there and think, okay, well, would this help you? What do you need? Do you need more finances? Do you need a tribe like this to support you? Do you need trainings like this to help give you those skills, opportunities to gain confidence? Okay. What are the things that you would need to help narrow that gap? What does that look like? And then these are some of the examples of what starting in May can provide for you. Okay. And then I always tell people what typically holds people back, okay, from giving Pampered Chef a try are finances, time, or fear of failure. Okay. Now finances, I'm going to challenge you with that because it's $25. Okay. If your child needed medicine, if your rent needed to be paid, if your tire went flat, I bet you would find $25. Okay, I'm just saying, I bet that you would be able to figure that out, right? Working with your consultants to come up with some ideas, selling some things on Marketplace, having your I bought my kit with garage sale money. Okay. So I'm not trying to make light of the fact that your financial situation might be really, really stressful and strapped right now. And so that $25 might as well be $1,000. But all that does is make me be like, then I need you to want more. I need you to want to have an opportunity or something that can help you get out of that situation, because that's a crummy place to be in. Okay. Like that squeeze is hurtful and it's painful, and I know it, and I don't want you to feel like that anymore. Okay. The second thing that people typically struggle about is time. Well, I don't have time. I know it. And again, I'm not going to make light of the positive or the negative things that are happening in your life and what's we're not here to compare schedules. But if you are in a space where you need to narrow that gap, things change. Things have to change, right? Maybe you don't get as much TV time. Okay. Maybe some things, like when I was working full time and doing Pampered Chef full time so I could quit, I didn't sleep a lot. And I'm not saying that that's healthy, but in that 1 year, I said, here we go, let's go, head down. And I worked a certain way so that I could have all the time freedom I have now. So that when summer break comes, I'm not worried about where my kids are or what's going on. Okay. I'm able to be with them. I'm able to be fully present. We're able to financially plan vacations, all these different things. I love that. Okay. So I understand that time is a concern. Okay. But I bet you, if you learned systems with us that we have in place for you, you could figure out how to get rid of that little time squeeze by doing some 15-minute express parties or a cooking show a month or something like that. We have systems in place. Okay. I always tell you guys, teammates, I'm like, okay, all y'all, you're all like, yeah, I worked on Pampered Chef for 6 hours yesterday. I'm like, but you don't even have any parties. What were you doing? There is no way you were doing income producing activities. So you were down the rabbit hole of watching things or putting together pretty packets or making pictures. That's not what we're trying to get you to do. Okay. And then fear of failure. And this is probably where everybody, whether you're a new consultant or not, you might fit into here. Okay. Because we're worried that we're so far from the person that we want to become, that we're going to look dumb, or we're going to not know how to do it, or we're going to screw up, or whatever that might look like, or I tried this before, or someone's going to be mean to me, or I'm being annoying, or whatever that is, whatever that mindset thing is that you're afraid you're going to fail. I want you to be more afraid of staying here. I want you to be more afraid of staying the person you are right now. And you're not even a person, right? But you all just came up with these things that you wanted. Don't be the 84%. Right? Don't be the 84%. Dare to get uncomfortable. Dare to do something a little bit different. Okay, dare to be the person that can go out and teach your children and your children's children and your neighbor and your teammates how to do this and how to really examine what they're doing and then give them a new skill. Dare to be that person. Okay, you're gonna screw up. You're gonna suck. Oh my word. I love that I'm starting gardening right now, because the whole time I'm like, wow, I suck at this. I don't know anything that I'm doing. I'm like, I have not been taught this. I am new. There is nothing in this Minneapolis city girl genes that says, yes, you should start a garden. Like all the things, right? Okay. Like I don't have the skills of that, but I love it, because if I'm willing to be uncomfortable, if I'm willing to do the research, if I'm willing to put in the time, if I'm willing to be like, you know what, I might not get any food. None of these things might grow. It's possible that this might just be a growing year. Okay. But if I'm willing to learn and grow, then I know the next year I'm going to be able to be better, right? The next time I try something, I might be able to lead other people. I loved it. I was able to answer someone's question. Someone had a questioning about gardening. I was like, I know, because of some research I had just done, or I had this app that would help her out. Like, I love that. And I was so proud of myself. And I think sometimes we're so worried about being new, but guys, you're not new for long when you're willing to learn. Right? Like you're not new for long when you're willing to learn things. Okay, my friends, I think that was my final. Yep. Okay. That is all. Sorry, we went a little over an hour. I know sometimes, it's hit or miss with what we've got as we're finagling things together. Friends, I hope that you found value in your time tonight. During, you started with a quiet moment. Oh, I have, Sarah, yes, I can't believe I didn't start that way. I think it's because I was so like frazzled. Let's start with that here. Okay, as I send you off. I love that. So yeah, typically that's how we start every training. I think I was just so like jazzed about seeing your faces and getting together. We didn't do that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. And Mickey, this is especially for you because you don't like cheesy things. Okay. We're gonna start. You're just gonna take your hand over your heart. Okay. And we're gonna close our eyes and you're just going to breathe deeply. And you're gonna think of things you're grateful for. Now that we've been through this whole journey of all the things, okay, we're going to take a second and we're just like literally it's going to be 1 minute, 60 seconds. That is all. Okay. Close your eyes and just continuously think of things that you're grateful for. That was 60 seconds, my friends. Imagine if you started your day or ended your day or before you went into work or before you went to deal with the kids for the day, okay, before you went into a difficult conversation, imagine if you allowed yourself that 60 seconds to reset. Okay. Allow yourself to narrow the gap between who you are and who you want to become. It's a journey. It doesn't happen right away. Okay. And it's consistent. And 84% of the world are going to tell you you're crazy. And of the other 16% that are doing it, only 3% are actually sticking to it. Okay. Be the 3%. Okay. Be the 3%. You deserve it. Okay, friends. Mwah. Love you. Thank you for spending time with us tonight. Have a good night.